Welcome back to Opposites Attract podcast. This is Sonja Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to my man,
Miguel Ramirez. What's up, babe?
What's up, friends? I'm excited. We have a lot of stuff to share. But first,
let's get into our plugs.
Yes.
So, like always, this podcast is brought to you by Trust Inc. And Trust Inc. is?
I'm going to get this right.
Let's do it.
Trust Inc. is a mobile notary agency. We are nationwide. We do a lot of work with lawyers, law firms, escrow, title. We do individual notarizations as well. We are also independent associates with Legal Shield. And what Legal Shield does is we give you access to attorneys at the palm of your hand for affordable monthly price.
There you go. And you can find that at trustincUSA.com.
Yes.
And as far like Legal Shield is pretty much like a legal service similar to insurance. Most of the services that you would use on a regular basis, phone consultation, document review, will preparation, things like that. They actually help with traffic tickets, like moving violations. They've helped us out a lot.
Yeah,
with
Miguel's
that over the
needed
years.
that very often.
So they've actually, I mean, it's not like the mafia. They're not going to get you off of tickets. They're not going to go whack somebody. But if they can help you and they know the law is better than we do, then they'll do that. So you can find all that at trustincUSA.com. You can also find our podcast at oppositesattractpod.com. And there you can subscribe to the podcast. You can find Spotify, YouTube, any on Android, Google Play, iTunes. You can find the podcast everywhere. You can also find it on Stitcher and any podcast app that you use. And if you go to oppositesattractpod.com and you click on the Support the Show tab at the top, you'll see our Amazon affiliate link. Mm-hmm. And anything that you purchased on Amazon, if you purchase it through our link, it helps out the show. So you can do that. And you'll also find a link to Trust Inc. there also.
Yes.
So we've got some stuff to get into. Mm-hmm. And but before we do that, I wanted to talk about what happened with our video. I don't even want to say the word.
Well, don't.
You know what I mean?
Because then this one's going to get blocked.
For those of you that watch our podcast, I'm sure you noticed that the last episode did not get uploaded. It did get uploaded by us, but the service that we use blocked or flagged our podcast. And it's crazy because it was one of the most vanilla podcasts. I mean, it was a good podcast, but we weren't getting into crazy. We've had way crazier podcasts that uploaded.
I didn't understand. And I knew it had to be something you said. Like, I just knew that it was you because it would never come from me.
Oh, really? Oh, my God. And so the crazy thing is that when you start doing some research, because you know me, like it doesn't go up and I'm trying to figure out what happened. Why I tried to upload it like 5 times, and it would not work.
Yeah.
So
it really sucks when it doesn't go up. Yeah.
So, this one's getting flagged too. So I started doing some research and it's kind of sad. Like the censoring, there's certain things, and it doesn't even have to be anything crazy. Obviously, like our last podcast. Mm-hmm. You don't have to say anything crazy. You don't have to do anything crazy. But there's just certain things that they will censor and just block it. And it's not people that do it. It's computers. I don't know. They're watching the sound waves. They know what you're saying. And also with the tags, like I tried to upload it without tags, without the description, without any information, and it was just the straight up video.
Yeah. So it was something that we said. So for those of you that have a podcast, look that crap up.
Yeah. So this is what I was thinking. And when I was doing the research, there's a very popular YouTuber that was talking about diversifying, and you always hear about this. Yeah. But if you're in business and you rely solely, or not even in business, but just in your personal life, you rely solely on one thing. Like if 100% of what we do comes from all of our traffic comes through one thing, we're screwed if they shut us down. Yeah. And if you think about it, to grow this thing, we have to go through YouTube, Facebook, and these are all companies. Like we don't own that. If they decide to shut us down, we're done.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to make sure that you diversify your stuff and put it out in different places. So our videos are going to start coming out on YouTube. I made a Twitch account, and I still have to learn more about Twitch and how to upload on there. So, yeah, just so you know, in the future, we're going to look at other options to make sure that our podcast can get out to more places so that you guys don't miss it.
Yeah. And they talk about that with other things, not to put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
And for those of you that watch the podcast and listen to the podcast, we definitely appreciate your support. Because, yeah, we had a few people that were like, hey, where's the video at?
Right.
And we're like, well, the video got blocked, but you can still listen to it. And they're like, well, I already listened to it, but I wanted to watch it, which is awesome. So thank you guys.
Yes, yes.
So what we were thinking is this week we were going to talk, well, really just kind of talk to you a little bit about, you know, how you started and like your mindset, how it's changed from when you used to work for law firms. And I mean, because up until that point, you always worked for somebody else, right?
Yes.
Was there any entrepreneurship going on as a kid or any of that?
Not that I can remember.
You never tried to sell anything or
No.
hustle up some cash?
No.
Besides looking through couch cushions.
And why are you bringing up oh shit? No.
But so how was the transition from going, like you went from working for somebody else? I mean, from what I remember, you were telling me that it was pretty much an ultimatum, right?
Yeah.
How did that go down?
Well, before we kind of get into the interview, I want to talk about how it came about.
Okay.
Just really quick. Because as you've seen it. The picture.
Let's stretch that S out a little more next time.
So it's been amazingly busy for our, in Trust Inc. And thank God my nephew is living with us because he's helping picking up the house and kind of keeping the house together.
Would say that.
He's doing. I know. I'm so grateful for him, and he does it right. You know.
Yeah.
Before when he was. Anyways, see, I'm gonna go on a tangent.
Okay.
He's doing amazing.
Hey,
Anyways.
Hey.
Okay. Focus. Keep me focused.
Back over here.
I tell you,
Let's
I
go.
need you to manage me. So I go into my personal space, which is my closet.
That's your. I didn't know that was your
Yeah.
That's your personal space
I pray in there.
in your closet.
Because it's dark. Like, that's
To
my
your
prayer
shoes?
room. You're stupid. And it smells good. No.
Like feet.
No. Anyways, I walk into my closet yesterday and I'm like, oh, what the heck happened in here? Like, usually my shoes are lined up. They're like color coordinated. You know, all
Really?
my clothes are hanging.
Yeah, I don't go in there, so
That's why I said it's my personal space. So stay
Yeah.
out. Anyways, clothes are everywhere, like on the floor. And I'm just like, what in the world? But I felt okay because usually I'd go ballistic because it's just out of order. But because I've been so busy and everything, I took a picture of it and I'm like, this is what success looks like. But I sat there and I was thinking about what it took
yeah.
to get us there. And that's why I posted the picture. And that's when I, showed
To
you
get
and I
us where?
said, the business today.
Yeah.
Not only
Yeah.
the business, but my mindset.
Uh-huh.
Like how different I am today versus 13 years ago when I started in Legal Shield with no background in business, no entrepreneurship, like just nothing,
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I brought it up.
I was just thinking that we've talked about like our future house. I think our future house is going to have like the podcast chill area for me, like separate. And then for you, we can build one of those big ass closets with the freaking island in the middle. And then just like a separate set. That could be your spot where you can go relax.
Why an island in the middle?
Because those are the big ass.
Oh,
ones.
you're talking about the huge. Oh, that's not going to be my personal space. That's just going to be my closet. But I will.
I'm just saying. You're saying that this closet is your your spot.
Because when I meditate, if you guys are like, I haven't done that with you home, but when the kids are home early in the morning, they get up like at 5 o'clock, and it used to be my time, but then they started getting up. So then I would go in the room, close the door, go in the bathroom, close that door, go into my closet and close that door.
That's the good thing about your closet.
Right.
You got to close 3. It's like Fort Knox in that closet. You got to get through 3 doors to get to you.
And it's quiet and peaceful and dark.
Yeah.
It's like I could do my thing in there.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
Anyways.
funny. So, so how was that? How was the shift? So actually explain to us what happened when you...
Like how I started
working for yourself. How did that come about?
Well, it's a funny story. So I met this gentleman at a club.
Nice. The best
we
place
started talking.
to meet people.
He was a loan officer.
Yeah.
And I ended up finding out that he was doing the side business, and the side business just so happened to be Legal Shield.
Yeah.
And I would hear him on the phone talking about attorneys and services. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, aren't you a loan officer?
At the club?
No, this is afterwards. Sorry. We started dating or seeing each other, whatever.
Yeah.
And I would hear him on the phone and I'm like, I'm a paralegal. Like, what are you talking about? I thought you said you're a loan officer. He's like, I am, but it's just a side thing I do. Like, he was not trying to get me involved in Legal Shield at all because he wanted to continue to date me.
Yeah. It's
and
like when you don't tell somebody, it's like,
because it makes them want to.
You're like, what are you doing? What are you up to?
What? And so I heard him talking on the phone, and he was talking to Tanisha Morgan, and she was talking to him about an event. His phone rang, and he's like, I'm going to get this. And it was her. And I'm like, what's this event you're going to? He's like, oh, it's just something we get together. And I'm like, well, is it? She was talking about guests. Can I go? And he was so trying to blow me off, though.
Hold up. This is
starting
to frustrate me, because after all the years that I did Legal Shield, you know how many times somebody invited themselves to an event that I was going to? 0. I chased people oh my God. I was like, hey, you want to come to this event? No, call the next person. Nobody ever invited themselves to an event.
Right? And he still was not like, and I'm just like, whatever, I ended up going. And at the end, it was Tanisha Morgan who came up to me, and she told me, like, after the fact, I found out that he told her not to try to recruit me, because he didn't want to recruit me because he thought that would interfere in the whole dating and us getting to know each other.
Okay.
But when I saw what I saw, and the atmosphere was super fun. Like, it was so fun, and it was so like crazy because they were interviewing the Christophers. She did the splits that day in front of the room. I'm like, what in the world?
So
I'm
crazy.
like, I just found me some friends. Like, I wasn't even looking at the business opportunity. I was looking at fun.
Yeah.
Like, fun. Wait, you guys travel? You have money to travel?
And because
everybody I knew was broke.
Yeah.
I could travel because I had the money, but then I didn't want to travel by myself. Now I found friends. And that's what actually...
And it's like, you guys travel and do this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's fun and just... I kind of, I just felt like this is something that I can see myself being a part of, just being a part of something bigger than myself.
So at that point you joined the business.
I joined Legal Shield. Mm-hmm.
And you started working Legal Shield, and it started going well for you.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we started just educating people on the service, and they said, hey, why don't you invite some people to your house, and we'll go in and do what we did here, but at your home.
Yeah. For those of you that are in network marketing, that's a typical thing. Like, you bring people over and you share what you do, and they buy your service, and that's what you were doing. And
by the way, I had no idea what a multi-level company. I was oblivious to it.
Yeah.
I didn't
No,
know what
never heard of it.
MLM was. I just knew that I worked with attorneys. I knew Davis Miles Law Firm because that's our law firm here in Arizona. And I knew that we had some cases with them and
Yeah.
that they were a great law firm. So I'm like, oh my God.
It was kind of like perfect that it was a
Yes.
legal multi-level marketing company
Right.
because that's the field that you were in. So you
Right.
understood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only that, but I was familiar with the law firm,
Yeah.
you know? So it was like just a no-brainer. But I didn't join for the money and I didn't have the vision of where I could go with this.
You wanted to throw a party in your house.
I wanted to throw a party. Like, wait, what? You don't have to ask me twice and I don't have to do the work.
You know what? That's funny because when somebody's new, like we're it's like pulling teeth trying to get them to do a meeting at their house, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, let's do it.
Hey, go recruit some extroverts.
You're like, when? Now? Right now? Let's do it.
Let's go. But it was super. I remember my first one. Like I was sitting there and they were doing the presentation for me and I was just taking notes because I wanted to present even though it scared me to death. I'm like, I want to do that. That's kind of fun and it's with family and friends, so I can do that. So I was sitting there taking notes and just listening to the same presentation. And that night, I remember Tanisha's like, she's looking at me laughing and she's like, you have no idea what just happened. Because when I did this thing, people showed up. I mean, I had people there and I've always been the rock for my family at times. Like, if they needed money or needed help, needed a place to stay, I was that person. I would go, and I've always been that person because I've always had the heart to help. So when I told people, hey, I started this, side business and I know you've been struggling. I have something, you may be interested. You may not be, but hey, I'm having a get together at my house.
Yeah.
And they know that when Sonja has a get together, she has a get together.
Yeah.
So everybody knows they're showing up. You know,
Did you have the pool table back then? You had the pool table?
Did I have the pool table? No, because I bought that for somebody.
Okay.
He took it. So no, I did not have it.
Okay. I was just saying because like if you're having a party,
How did you
like
know
people.
I had a pool?
Because I remember you told me.
Oh, okay. So anyways, it went very well for me that night and it was fun.
Yeah.
And everybody else that was there, those that saw it, they saw it. And that's where
And they
it all
signed up.
started.
Yeah.
Yes. That night, I think I made $1,100 doing nothing, sitting on my butt. And that was it. When I saw what happened that night, I knew that I could help other people make the extra money to help put extra food on the table.
Yeah.
But also, I was focused on let's party some more and make more money together.
Yeah.
But that's not where the success happened for me in my heart.
Yeah.
Where
did that come from?
When I became a victim of identity theft.
Yeah.
I was in Legal Shield. Legal Shield sells legal services and an identity theft service. And I found out I was a victim. Someone was using my social, selling it. My life went from this perfect picture to, oh my God, I don't know what to do kind of deal.
Yeah.
And Legal Shield was there. And I saw now, I knew that this was real. The money was fun, but now I knew that I can truly help people.
Yeah.
Because the law firm that I was working for at the time, my attorneys were $350 an hour. And I knew that there was only a certain amount of people that we could help.
Yeah. Yeah. If you can't afford it, you can't get the help.
Right. And consultation was a huge thing. Like, and people were paying $350 for a consultation.
And that's the thing is that whether you're right or wrong, I mean, especially if you're right and you're just trying to get what you deserve, like what you should have, and and it's something that's a complicated situation or whatever, you have to talk to an attorney to do that.
Right.
And if you don't have the money, you're not going to get what you should, like, as a person get.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where you saw the opportunity to help people.
Yes. That's when it went from my brain to my heart. Like, and I got the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Of what this can do. And not only that, I went to a large event.
Yeah.
And saw the stage full of attorneys, like partners from every state.
Yeah, I mean, they fill the convention stage with all the partners from across the country.
Yes.
Is this going to be a big legal shield?
I know, it feels like it.
So you started so after the big event, you come back, and obviously your mind is blown.
Ugh.
And you are ready.
I was like a crackhead.
Yeah, that's how people come back. So, but now you're ready to really pick this thing up and get going.
But I didn't know anything about business. I didn't. I knew nothing about, they trained us on the taxes and everything else, but I just knew to have get-togethers. Like that was it.
The simple things.
The simple things. And I was working a lot. So I was working 40 to 50 hours a week. Like sometimes it was more than that, 60 hours, but it was not fun. If you ever worked in a law firm, it's not fun. And so my legal shield business created that environment for me and started teaching me. I remember at the time, I used to love reading romance novels. Like, yes, like I can romance somebody like this
on the cover, and like, he's like on a horse.
I was an expert. I could have wrote that book.
Yeah.
What is it? The lighter shade of gray. What is it?
50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, lighter shade of gray. 50 Shades of. I could have wrote that book.
I believe you.
But I remember the gentleman at the time. He took that book from me, and he put The Dream Giver in my hands, and he said, "I want you to read this."
That's where personal development started.
It was introduced.
Yeah.
Legal Shield's like a personal development, company. With a great service attached to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just intense.
That's true. A lot of multi-level companies are like that. And that's one of the biggest benefits.
See, but that's where I didn't know that.
I kind of had it too, but that's where it really came from me too, was just like, you know what? I always kind of wanted to get better, but that's where like it really focused it. Like you have to, like you got to look for it.
Yeah. Like it's like they focus on, you got to become that person.
Yeah.
You have to become attractive. And I don't mean physical, like with looks, physical. But anyway, so I started reading a lot, and I started focusing on how to become better, because once I read that book, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
And it helped me to think outside the box.
Yeah.
And then that book led to many, many others. And having people, I was surrounded with success, Yeah. I was surrounded with success, but the money was still not the driver.
Yeah.
It was the service. I've always been so passionate about the service. So going through that experience led to other experiences and a whole lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
Mistakes.
So, I mean, but while you're making mistakes, while you're doing your get-togethers and inviting people to the events, like you're having success in Legal Shield and you're working at the same time.
Well, let's talk about that. Because, I had some success.
Yeah.
But see, what people don't see are the things that happen behind closed doors. Because, they were talking about the position I hit.
So this is the thing, is you started Legal Shield, and within a few months, you hit one of the top positions in the company while you're working full-time at this law firm.
Yes.
So even though it's fun and you're having a great time working Legal Shield, you're working at the law firm in the morning, what was your day like after work?
Let's talk about lunch.
Well, okay, so what was lunch like? You're working through lunch?
I'm working through lunch. I'm like inviting people.
At the law, so you're sitting at your desk at the law firm?
No. Across the street was Park Central. There was a Starbucks.
Okay.
And a Happy Egg place.
Yeah.
Take people to lunch and just have my little flip book.
Yeah.
And I would read it. I would read the flip book and connect. See, but that's something that came natural to me. Connecting with people.
Yeah.
You know, sitting with them, building that rapport. I didn't have to force myself, you know, to do those things because it came natural to me.
Yeah.
And that's something that I didn't at the time recognize. I didn't recognize that I had that gift. I thought everybody had that gift.
Yeah.
So when I started recruiting, I noticed that not everybody was sticking around. Like they because I made it so fun for them, you know, like we would have barbecues like with, you know, with the team and get together. I love being with my team. I absolutely love my
like
team.
Team building things.
Yes. But what I was doing after a while I saw wasn't working because it wasn't duplicating because they didn't have my personality.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So going through that, there was a lot of heartache, a lot of challenges, a lot of people leaving me hanging. And I'm like, what's wrong? Now you start questioning yourself.
Yeah. But how did you go to, because when it came time for you to make the decision to leave the law firm, you were tearing it up in Legal Shield at that point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So how did that happen? What happened?
A whole lot of partying. I mean, having get-togethers at the house. I was meeting people for lunch. I was meeting people. I didn't have a husband. I didn't have kids. Yeah. All my time was my time to do me. So when I was at Star, anywhere I was handing out business cards.
Yeah, for Legal Shield.
For Legal Shield, you know, and when I would see somebody sharp that I thought would be great, I had no problem approaching them and saying, hey, not sure if you leave your options open, but I'm looking for some good people. You know, I work for a law firm. You know, wouldn't say too much, but get them the information. And next thing you know, it grew without me. I had no idea where I was when I hit executive. Like I got a call from my executive telling me, Sonja, oh, this is a story. Sonja, you are, I think it was like 5 counters, meaning 5 policies away from hitting executive. You have 2 days. Go get it, girl. I'm here if you need me. I was at work. Yeah. I started to feel sick. I'm not kidding you. She told me that I have 5 days to hit the top position.
Like you're about to get to their position.
To get 5. Yeah, to get to her position. I'm like, how? Like I had I wouldn't track numbers. That's boring.
Yeah.
I was just doing the activity they told me to do.
Yeah.
I was like such a copycat. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. You know?
So what were those 2 days like?
Oh, I got sick. I'm telling you, I left that day. I told the attorney, I'm not feeling good. I got to go home. I did.
Yeah.
And I left. And do you know who the first person I went to go see to sign up?
Who's that?
My mom.
Yeah.
My mom. She's still into Legal Shield this day, you know, but it was fun. It was the adrenaline, the high that I could do something and hit that position because I had no idea where I was. I was just doing the activity. So I went to work. And we did it.
Yeah.
And it felt so great because, as you see, I said, we did it. Yeah. I called up the team. I'm like, hey, where do you need to be? What can I do to help you? It was a team effort.
Yeah, because it didn't have to be 5 from you personally.
Right.
It could be throughout your team.
Right.
Like as a team, you guys had to get it.
So that's a great story, right? And then my paralegal friend who I worked with, I had her set up an LLC because that's what, you know, I felt that I had to do was set up an LLC. So we did it at work because that's part of what we did. I was working for a real estate law firm. By the way, that was the second law firm that I worked with because the first one, when I first started Legal Shield, I was working for a different law firm. And then I got recruited shortly after to work for a law firm in Scottsdale.
Yeah.
So that was going well. My LLC, the name for my company, came back to my law firm.
Yeah.
And my attorney seen it. And at that time, my LLC was called Sapiens Affordable Legal Services. And
they're like, what the hell is this?
Oh, he was not happy.
Yeah.
He was
of
not
course,
happy.
He probably thinks it's competition.
Totally.
And you're like a spy or like a mole in his office.
And he gave me
an ultimatum.
He gave me an ultimatum. He said, you can either stay with us, go do your own thing, or you're more than welcome to leave. And so it was so funny. I remember being in his office and I had this cheesy ass smile on my face when he told me that.
Well, the thing is that you had made money.
Oh, yeah.
In those. So from the time that you started Legal Shield to this point, how long was that?
2 months.
So you're 2 months in to Legal Shield.
Yes. I have my own house. I have a car. I have no roommates. So this is all me. Like, this decision could have taken me down.
Yeah.
You know, if it didn't go the right way.
Yeah.
But I wasn't scared. I don't remember feeling like I knew what I was going to do. Yeah. And I told him, I said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move forward with my business. And I got my little happy ass, got my box.
Got my happy ass up.
Yep.
And packed my shit.
Yep. And I remember the HR at the time. She was such a biznatch, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And she said, good luck with that legal thing you're doing.
Yeah.
That's
great.
Yeah. And so I walked my little happy ass out of there with my box and I said, peace out.
Yeah.
And I think about that today and I'm like, damn, you were pretty gutsy. Like,
that's crazy.
That's pretty gutsy.
Yeah.
To do that.
Yeah.
Because I had nobody else to rely on. There was nobody else that could help me pay my bills.
And this is all commission.
Yes. Legal Shield is strictly commission.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I took the leap of my life and I ended up growing wings on the way down.
Yeah.
But that's needless to say, that sounds like a pretty picture, but I was hustling. Like, I was chasing it. I was going after it and I was having so much fun doing it.
That's like
so much fun.
Like those birds that we talked about on the, I don't know when, a few podcasts back. They're eagles. They're some kind of Seahawks, but it's like on the beach and they're like on this jagged cliff.
Yes.
And the way they learn how to fly is by jumping off the cliff.
Yes.
And they figure it out as they're falling off the cliff.
Yes.
So you're just like, fuck it. I'm going for it.
That was totally me. And everybody thought I was crazy. Like, I had my mom's support. And I get emotional about this because I remember those people that didn't believe in me. Ugh.
That's good.
And it didn't matter to me. It hurt me because I do care. Back then I cared a lot about what people thought of me. You're a jerk. I'm in tears and he's batting his eyes at me, those that are
That's
not
what I do when Sonja starts getting emotional.
Freaking jerk. And so, I had those people and I know that some of you have those people in your life that, bring you down. You have a great idea. You're going for something and they're like, who do you think you are? What makes you different than the rest? And a lot of times you'll allow those people.
What makes you think you can do that?
Right. And you'll allow those people to steal your dreams. You have to be strong enough to overcome that.
Yeah.
Because I had a lot of that. But it did not matter because I knew where I was going. I knew where I wanted to be. And unfortunately, those people that didn't believe in me didn't have what I wanted.
And,
you know?
And in the business, you had examples of people that had success. They had what you wanted.
Yes. And so I locked arms with them. And there were even people out of state that were helping me, guiding me, supporting me, and helping me through it. But needless to say, there was a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they want what they want, but they're not willing to do what it takes to get there.
They say they want something.
Right. And I remember with my team that it wasn't about me. I was always about my team.
Yeah.
What is it that you need? How can I help you? I remember late nights being in their house. Late nights being in their house to help them accomplish or reach whatever goal it is that they wanted. When I say I've sacrificed a lot for others as well. And I didn't realize that. Like,
this is just helping people is probably the way you saw it.
It's help. Yeah.
Like,
it was
you want
just
to help
natural.
them get to what they want.
Right.
Yeah. That's kind of like that Zig Ziglar quote. If you help enough people get what they want, then you can have everything that you want.
And I didn't even know that quote back then.
Yeah.
It's something that I've always had in my heart. I mean, before, when I took a look and I started, wanting to go to college, I wanted to be a CPS worker, or I wanted to work with children. I wanted to help. I wanted to give back.
Yeah.
So my heart has always been there.
Yeah. So you end up quitting your job. And at what point does it's so early into the business, I can't imagine that you just drop the employee mindset and I'm an entrepreneur now. And now I'm a business owner, I work for myself, and now my mindset is completely different. How did that go? Like, when did your mindset start to shift towards, because you haven't worked for somebody in how long?
13 years. 13 years.
I'm sure it's taken a while to get to that point, to that mindset where now you have to.
I think now, for real, it's taken me
13 years.
13 years. Because back then, I didn't have to wake up early for Legal Shield. I was a recruiter.
You don't have to do anything.
Oh my God. I'd go to.
You just also don't have to get paid.
My office was Starbucks. I killed it in Starbucks. My team and I would go to Starbucks and meet people. I remember meeting police officers. I mean, we would just sit at a table, talk, and we would actually invite people to meet us there. Like, Starbucks was our office. People knew us there. We had a whole lot of fun together. And I didn't have to wake up early, but I did have a lot of late nights, which I didn't care because, again, that's just, what I did. The employee mindset didn't kick in until 13 years later because
the entrepreneur mindset.
Yes, because Legal Shield spoils us. Everything's there. I didn't have to make my own website. I didn't have to create my own brochures or my cards, or I didn't have to do any of that. I didn't get that until 2 years ago with Trust Inc. And that's moving forward through it. But before Trust Inc. came along, I had 12 years of learning how to network.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me, you sent me a couple, I think it came from one of the videos that we have to get into on a different podcast, but you sent me a couple of videos on Instagram, like about your mental wiring. Mm-hmm. And like, if you think about how we go to school from the time that we're 5, 6 years old, all the way through high school, and then even through college, and just the way the society is set up, like, it's set up for us to be employees.
Yes.
There is no entrepreneur class. There is no entrepreneur. Like, it is a different mindset, right? Like, it's just a different way of thinking. Like, if you look at wealthy people that own businesses, that do that sort of thing, their kids, like, a lot of times people think like, oh, well, their kids are just, spoiled brats or what. Their kids grow up with a different mindset. because that's what they're around. That's what that's how their parents think.
Right.
But for people like us that didn't come from that type of a family or whatever,
No.
I mean, even though on a smaller scale, I kind of did, because my dad was always
more
hustling.
a hustler than I.
And that came a lot from my dad. But, you have to change that wiring, because we're wired for school, we're wired for comfort. These are things that we typically want, right?
Right.
So when did that... So you said it took you 13 years for that shift to happen.
No, trusting. I'm telling you, okay. And I know you keep taking me back, but I'm telling you, that wiring did not happen until recently through trusting.
Yeah.
And we can
was there like
get into that, but go ahead.
Was there like a certain moment that you knew something was different? Or was it just progressive over time?
I think just in time. I mean, I started to realize that I sucked. Like, for real. And you helped with that, by the way. Because Legal Shield, I was like a superstar. You know what I'm saying? You can hide behind...
Yeah.
You can hide, even though people are seeing the success, there were certain things that I wasn't doing that people were not seeing. Meaning being consistent.
Yeah.
Being consistent. I wasn't consistent. And that's when, I had success. And then there were times where I wasn't having the success because I stopped doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
I stopped doing what led me to that.
Yeah.
I remember there were times, because again,
you kind of feel like
I have no job. Yes. But you know what? I was a smart enough girl, and I was young, to put money away.
Yeah.
Like a whole lot of money. So when I wasn't a whole lot of money to me at that time.
Yeah.
I was young.
Yeah.
And
it's like $200. That is a lot of money for me. I'm just kidding. Like you're young, you're like, I got $200.
I had a safety net.
Yeah.
For the months that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing, because you get comfortable. That's the thing.
You stop doing what got you to the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Your head starts to get big, and so I had that net to fall back on where, I still had money to pull from. That's making me nervous.
We're going
to have to do a part 2 about this.
We can.
But there were times where I had to dig into, like my investments, the money that I had put aside because of that. And it took a lot of me being honest with myself, because I'm not one that does well with faking it. I can't be in front of the room claiming that I'm making this amount of money when I'm not this month. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for me to get up there and say I'm at an executive position this month when truly I'm at a director position. Yeah, position. So I had to grow through that and humble myself.
Yeah.
And at times, like in the business, they say fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And some of them may be able to do it. I just wasn't one of them. And so when you start to feel less, you tend to, again, hide behind the success.
Yeah.
Though when I made the decision to, okay, Sonja, let's put this together. When I made that decision, it always happened. Whenever I set a goal in Legal Shield, it always happened.
Yeah.
But because I wasn't money driven, I think that's what stopped. Like, I think that's where my success kind of stalled.
Yeah. You said something that when you made a decision, that's when, what did you say?
Okay.
When you
so
made the decision, like that's when things.
whenever I would make a decision, like set a goal,
Yeah.
I would make it happen.
Yeah.
But I wasn't consistent throughout the entire process.
Yeah. So I remember this saying in Legal Shield that I always liked. When you make a decision, the word decide is, if you look at the suffix, I think it's called the side, decide, the side part of the word. The suffix is, if you think like homicide, suicide, all these side, pesticide, killing
Yeah.
insects, it's the death of something, right? Decide is the death of all other options.
Yeah.
Like this is what you're doing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I think what happened, or what I know what happened, was that I would look around and I started to feel alone because my team wasn't having the success I was having. And I started to feel alone and question my leadership. I started to question me. I started to question everything, because the reason why I got into this business was because it was fun, it was exciting, and because I was part of something. I had this community. But then the loneliness started to kick in, and the people that I loved, that I grew these relationships, were not coming around anymore. And
Yeah.
I had to figure it out. And what I recognized is that my team, I built my team being Sonja dependent.
Yeah.
I was doing what worked for me.
They all had to rely on you
Right.
to grow,
Right.
as opposed to them relying on themselves.
Or the company. You know, like
Yeah.
going and doing the thing. Like if I didn't go, they weren't going.
Yeah.
You know?
Where, I mean,
And these types of business is
and
duplication.
I think that's part of the employee entrepreneur mindset. Because as an entrepreneur, you can't rely. I mean, you can, you have to in certain things. But when it comes to stuff like that, like going to a presentation, like there's certain things that you have to do yourself. You can't, if, like in these businesses, somebody signs up to work with you. But the truth is that they own their own business also. This is
Right.
their thing. And we've heard so many stories of people that drop off,
Yes.
and the person that they brought into the business ends up turning into a superstar. And part of that is because they didn't wait for the person that signed them up to take, like, oh, if you don't go, I'm not going. It's like, no, I'm going whether you go or not.
Right.
And that's not what was happening.
Yeah.
It seems like you're saying if you didn't go, a lot of your people weren't going.
Right. See, and with me, the guy who brought me in, who I was dating, once we, you know, and this is probably why he didn't want to date me or not date me, introduce me to Legal Shield, was because when I broke it off, he was no longer around.
Yeah.
So my sponsor left. The person who brought me in left.
Yeah. That's crazy.
You know,
'Cause that's
but,
one of those things. Yeah.
Yeah, but I kept going.
Actually, the person that brought you in and the person above them also dropped off.
Yes, and they were the ones,
And they missed out on a lot.
Yeah, and they were the ones though that I built that relationship with, that I was having fun with, that I was running with. You know, we
Yeah.
were team builders
In the beginning.
and they left. And the one above them, Tanisha, she does group and employee benefits with Legal Shield, and that wasn't my strength.
Yeah.
That's not what I wanted to do.
More networking.
Yes. You know, so I've gone through a lot of growth. But I think what really took a toll on me was that when I would go to the meetings, I looked around and my team was no longer there.
Yeah.
You know, and we were all still friends, but I think maybe they seen all the success I was having and started questioning themselves.
Yeah. Because they see you, but they're not having the same thing.
Yeah. You know, and you can only do so much to help them. But I felt like a failure. I felt like a failure.
Yeah.
And that was the time before you.
Yeah.
That all this that happened was before Miguel was in the picture, because Miguel and I met in the business when I was,
Well, I was already in the picture, but not really.
Yeah. You were just a cute
already
guy
met.
that walked into my meeting.
We had already met, and we had went out to lunch to talk about the business, and that was it.
Yeah, and that was it. And then a year later passed.
Mm-hmm.
And then we ended up meeting again.
At a convention.
Yep, at a large event. And that was the beginning of our relationship. And what was so crazy, a lot happened within that time. So Legal Shield was going well. Again, picked up, built a new team. We were doing very well. I met Miguel. And we started dating. It was a whole lot of fun. And that's a whole nother podcast. Yeah. But life changed again.
Yeah.
Boy, did it.
So I think what we can do is we can wrap up the Legal Shield part, and then next time maybe we can get into the trusting.
Yeah.
So
we can do that, because there's a lot within just Legal Shield, because that Legal Shield jump started my success.
Yeah.
Helped me to make me who I am today. I owe that company and the gentleman who brought me in everything. Yeah. Because I don't think I wouldn't be the person I am today without Legal Shield. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, that's something that I'm super grateful for. I mean, I had some success in Legal Shield, because we said, we had two separate businesses. I didn't have the success that you had. Your personality, and you've heard it time and time again, that you have something special when it comes to working with people, with dealing with people, I don't know. It's just something that you have. I didn't have that, but I did grind. I was out all the time, and I just, at a certain point, I didn't enjoy it as much.
Yeah. It's so crazy?
What?
He had everything I needed.
I know. It's crazy.
You had the self-discipline.
You know what? We'll talk about the differences.
Yes.
You know how you probably had names and numbers everywhere, just shit all over the place, business cards just falling out of your pockets.
I would lose some.
I had a box with index cards with 500 people with stickers.
I still have it.
I would. It's so crazy. Have it. But yeah. So we can get into that another time. Yeah. But I never had that type of success with Legal Shield that you had. But I did learn so much from the person, just the change. I've always had that entrepreneur mindset, but the getting better, focusing, and it wasn't just in business. It really is everything. Anything that you want to get better at, you're just a constant, you're a building in New York. You look at buildings in New York, and they all have scaffolding on them. They are never done. They're always fixing something, working on something. That's us, Yeah. Yeah. So, and one thing that before we get out of here, because it's time. It's time to go.
I haven't even got.
I know. So before we get out of here, there is something that I wanted to talk about, because on the last podcast I mentioned, or the last one, or one of the previous ones, we've talked about it before, about leadership. But I've mentioned, even if you're not in a leadership position, that you can find ways to become a leader. Mm-hmm. And this is something that I've just kind of, I don't know, I've done it naturally, but just as an example, I started thinking about it last week. There's 3 steps that I've thought of to leadership, to become a leader, even when you're not a leader. And the things that you have to, if you're brand new at something, you have to learn. It's learn, help, and teach. That's what I thought. Mm-hmm. So you have to learn as much as possible. Be the best at what you do your best, learn as much as you can, because you want to be the person that people go to when they need help. Yeah. But you can't do that unless you're constantly learning, you're getting better. And then when people need help, then you start helping other people, because now you know what to do. Yeah. Yeah. And then eventually, when somebody new shows up, because you've learned so much, because you've helped enough people, now you can start teaching new people how to do what you do. Don't keep it to yourself.
Right.
And these are things that you don't have to be in a leadership position to do. You know, when I first started learning sheet metal work, and even what I do now, I learned as best as I could. And then eventually people are like, man, I'm having a hard time with this. Can you help me out with that? You know? And because I had put myself out there and learned as much as I could, and I got good at it, I could do certain things that other people couldn't, you know, and I could help them out. And then I would take it upon myself to teach the new guys that were coming in. Yeah. And eventually that turned into a team lead position, even though I wasn't a team lead before that. I also seek the classes to become a team lead. But even in my position now, we have new people that come in. We don't have a team lead where I work now. But I've told you before.
Yeah, you take that.
I take it upon myself to make sure that I go through all the work that we do with the new guys. Like I try, you know. And the thing is that it doesn't pay you more at first. But I'm telling you, it all adds up to something eventually. Yeah. You may not see it now, but eventually you'll look back when you're at a new position or doing something different, and you'll be like, holy shit. I could have never imagined that the shit that I did 5 years ago would have landed me here now.
Yeah.
You know?
Service
to others
equals success.
Leads to greatness.
Yeah.
So.
You know, and what I mean success is when you, like, just like what you said, the more people you help, this is the way, and it states it in the Bible as well. Service to many leads to greatness.
Yep.
And when I think of all the things that we have done, we have helped others, you know, and it may have not been, you know, financially, but when, you know, like what Legal Shield, the whole late night, staying with them, helping them, going through, crying with them, their challenges, their struggles, their accomplishments, everything. Because I question, like, what is it? Like, how is it that things are where they are today? And it's because I forgot about all the things and the time and the heartbreak and the late nights that I've put into their families, which was taken from our family. And that's one of, you know, on our next podcast is something that we can get into. Yeah. You know, is that.
We'll get into that. It's time to go, babe.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for being with us.
Yes.
We will be, you know what? One other thing that we talked about is that we're also thinking about the video sometimes takes a little bit to set up, but maybe we can, we have conversations sometimes and we're like, man, we should be recording this. And we can fire up the microphones and just record real quick. So maybe we can get some in between. We'll see. We'll let you guys know. But we appreciate you guys being with us. Make sure you go to oppositesattractpod.com. You subscribe there. You go to Trust Inc. That's trustinkusa.com. And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Yes. Have a great day. Bye.